Here's our inner circles photo etch taped up. I'll shoot it with a couple coats of that little that Tamiya metal primer, and then airbrush it up copper. You know what? I may actually just paint these. They're so small. On the other hand, they've got windows, so it'd probably clog it up. So yeah, I'll probably just hit them with the airbrush. I've finished painting the outer ring photo etch, so I just shot it with a couple coats of metal primer, Tamiya metal primer for photo etch, and then I shot it with a couple coats of the champagne gold spray, rattle can spray that we use for the rest of the ship. So these are ready to go. I've shot the copper pieces here with primer, so we'll go ahead and shoot them with the copper paint. We'll airbrush the copper paint. Just make sure I'm in focus here. All right, so we've got airbrush fired up and ready. So this Model Air copper seems to clog very quickly in the airbrush, so I'm going to do 50-50 of the thinner. So let's do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. There's obviously not a lot here. Not a lot here to paint, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Stir that in. Test shot. Looks good. Okay, let that dry for 10 minutes and then we'll come back and shoot it again. So just in those very few minutes, my tip got clogged up and I tried all my usual tricks to just open it just enough to just quickly hit that again. No luck. So I've taken my next size larger, I guess 4mm airbrush. I put let's see, 6 drops of thinner first and then 3 drops of paint. So 2/3 thinner, 1/3 paint, and hopefully it gives me enough to just cover these little pieces. There we go. Okay, so we'll let that dry and then all the photo etch is ready to get glued onto the saucer. Alright, so I'm just going to give you a flavor of doing this photo etch. I'll probably end up blocking you a bit, and I'm sorry, but it's so hard to get in here. But I'm just taking some canopy glue in this brush and carefully running it inside here, pretty thick, because obviously this dries clear, so it's fine to have thickness. Okay, and then I've taken my photo etch and I've already bent it into a little bit of a curve, as you can hopefully see, and then I kind of pinch my fingers on both sides to guide it a little and try to drop it right into place. Alright, and then we'll just let that dry in there, and yeah, I mean, I'm basically just going to repeat that process around the inner circle and then this outer circle, and get that photo etch in, and then tackle the champagne gold outer circle. Okay, I have laid in the photo etch in the edges. I wanted to show you guys doing at least one on the outer edge, or I guess the inner ring of the outer ring or whatever, but these are not easy to do, and so I've gone ahead and laid them in. I think I did show you guys one of these, but anyway, you can get an idea there, and then as to the inner edge of the outer ring, let's see if we can't pick it up. Yeah, there we go. Oh yay, there you see it. So these are a bear to put in for sure, but you just got to bend them slightly in the direction they're going. Remember to have the window section sticking out. Remember that this side is, make sure I get my concave, I guess convex inside there, and the other edge out here is concave. Okay, so anyway, the light worked out well. If you remember, we had just shaved down the parts behind these guys. So let me try to get back into focus and then see if with one hand I can hit the power here. There we go. So there's that inner circle, and then the outer. And these windows are tiny, but as you can tell, it's worked out pretty well. I'm happy with the way these look. So luckily we're working on the USS Discovery here, which, as everybody knows, has spore drive, which, as everybody also knows, gives you the ability to jump back in time or forward in time under the right circumstances. You're probably wondering where I'm going with this. I've jumped back from the future to give you a little warning here, as we'll find out, but I want to give you pre-warning so you can take care of this at the right time. So in the future, I will put this photo etch along the edge here of the saucer section, and as well as in the other edges, but this is the problem. When I go to light it up, the whole edge is dark, and what happens is when you sandwich these two pieces together, it blocks up all those holes that you pre-drilled. So I'm going to insert this at the right spot in the videos, so that you have warning when you glue these two pieces together. You need to come back in and drill out your windows, and before you photo etch. So I would probably, well, one thing is you've already kind of drilled holes here anyway, so you can just take the same holes and drill through, but this is probably a good opportunity to remeasure and make sure the holes are all right, either using your actual photo etch or using those templates, you know, a copy of it, and just kind of taping them on. Don't forget that there's 4 of these little eagle, I call them eagles, but little eagle things that go in between certain areas. But yeah, before you put the photo etch, drill through. You're gonna see plastic, and it's pretty thick. So what I'm doing now in the future, as I'll tell you, is having to drill through these windows, and so I'm using a little number 78.016 drill, and then a bigger number 76.020 drill bit. And it's still beating up a little bit, pulling away a little bit. So that's why I wanted to come back here and warn you. Take your number 76.020 before you photo etch, drill it through. Don't know how well you can see this, but it takes almost the entire bit of this drill bit before I break through to light. Thank God I am breaking through to light, so eventually it comes through. It's just that I am having to beat up, or at least be really careful not to beat up, the photo etch. Alright, so you're fair warned to do that now. Drill through, and then bear with me. I won't spend much time on it since I've done it here, but when we get to that future episode, you'll see that I confess what's happened here and talk a little bit about solving it. Okay, see you guys next. I'm going to tackle the outer ring now, and hopefully get a little bit of this on tape, just because obviously it's a lot easier to show on this outer ring than it was on those inner rings. So basically, I take canopy glue, which is clear see-through glue, and get pretty generous with it. It's since it's see-through, and then when it dries, it's also kind of got the consistency of rubber cement. So if there's a little extra squirts out or whatever, it's not a big deal. It's very easy to just take a pair of tweezers and peel it off. And then, if you remember, we drilled out those little window holes, so not sure if you can see them, but there's 1, 2, and then 1 there, and then on our photo etch, the same matches up, so gives you something to match up there on the photo etch. Okay, I'm going to block you guys for a little bit here just so I can get this pushed down and in place. And on these pieces, there's these little pieces that I call like eagle pieces that go in between each of the photo etch longer pieces. See if I can get one here. there are these little pieces here, and then they just glue in. So this one would go in here, and then the longer piece, let's see, the next piece is number 29. And it's a really long piece, and again it's got some windows here and some windows there. So what I'll do is off camera I'll just go ahead and glue the little piece in, and then take this piece and just bend it along here and shape it and get it glued in, and just proceed all the way around the edge, basically doing the same thing, and then we'll be done with most of our saucer photo etch. These little guys here, there's 2 on this side, 4 on the other side, have little pieces that go on top of them, but I wait till the very end to put those in. So guys, I got the got the photo etch put around the edges, and then I hooked up the outer ring lights to power, flicked them on, and as you can see, pretty much dark all the way around. So what happened is, if you recall, we had pre-drilled these holes along with all the other ones, and I didn't think I could have missed like every hole. I was pretty careful to make sure these were at least within spitting distance of where the pre-drilled holes were, and they're all dark all the way around. When we sandwiched this 2 pieces together, the bottom piece, when it fit in there, must have covered up all the pre-drilled holes. So like on a prior version of this model that I've done, I went in and let's see, make sure I can get this here. There we go. I took, in this case, actually I started with a really small drill, but I worked my way up to these number 76, so if I can get this in here, number 76, or 0.20 drill bits, which is kind of my preferred size, and so I just, as a test, took these 3 windows here and drilled them out very carefully. And I don't know if this is going to show. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see this. Apologies, but yeah, there was definitely some plastic blocking. It didn't take much to drill those 3 out to be able to get a little bit of light coming through from these windows. So I will very carefully, take this drill bit and work my way around the windows on the outside and clear them out so that they're lit too. All right, guys, I took a little break and shot a quick video to insert back in the past to warn you guys. So hopefully you've been forewarned and you're not having the problem that I ran into here of having this photo etch already on, and unfortunately when I glued these 2 halves together of the saucer, the bottom half fits up there inside and blocks the light from coming through these pre-drilled windows. So I'm having to go back, and it is a little bit tedious, and it's a little risky on the windows, on the photo etch itself. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a very small bit, very small bit, number 78.016, drilling out a few of these windows, to get it started, and then following up with a .020 to make the hole a little bit bigger. And it's taking every bit of the drill bit, I mean almost to the edge here before I break through the light, but luckily I am breaking through the light. So I'm going to do that all around, and then we'll get back on camera to show you that we've solved the problem. But like I said, I've jumped back, and hopefully you saw where I inserted a piece in the appropriate spot of this video, warning you of this and advising you to pre-drill these before you put on the outer ring edge of photoetch. So here's I finished drilling out, and just wanted to show you we got lights coming through the edges now. All right, if you remember, we had this little issue here. We've got this SMD in place to light the bridge, but I had not put one inside here to light these windows on the side. So here's my solution. Of course, your solution is to do this beforehand. But we've got this peg hole here, and it runs straight into our wire. So for example, if I put this wire through here, it's a little bit bunched up here, but it can be worked. Keeps bending on me, sorry, of course, because I'm on video. There we go. See, it runs right through there. So so what I'm going to do is open up just a tiny bit, maybe with a tiny little Dremel, this peg hole here. You may even get away not doing that. This wire's, you know, copper, so it's tough, and I suspect the plastic would push through there, but I'm going to try to make just a little bit of a channel, and then I'll run a positive and a negative magnet wire through there, okay, and then knock out another thing that I was wanting to do, which is I'll show you guys wiring up one of these little SMDs. So as you know, you can get these pre-wired ones, for example, from HDA Model Works. You can also get on the internet, on Amazon, I'm sure other places, actual strips of SMDs. So these are the 0603s. The smallest size you can get is these 0402s. Next size up, 0603. And they come on a strip like this, a whole bunch of them, and you just pop them out. And so we'll build our own wired SMD with the magnet wire. So what we'll do, yeah, so let's get started. Give myself a bunch of wire to work with here, and oh no, we're going to first open that hole up a little bit. Let me pick the right tool to do that and get that hole opened up just a little bit, so it'll take both the wire and the peg. I've taken a really tiny, don't know if you can even see this tip on here, Dremel. It's got just a tiny little circular grinder right there. And like knocking the speed down just a little bit when you're dealing with plastic. Obviously be careful in here since you've got wires down below. Most of it's magnet wire, but there's a couple soft ones that you don't want to poke through. Then just grab a little hand tool here and clean this up carefully. So I've left most of this opening the way it was. Just extend it, as you can see, down a little bit at the bottom for those wires to come through. That should work perfectly. Still leave enough of that opening for that peg to fit in there nice and snugly. Okay, so let's run. Our red guy and our green one. All right, and got a little off camera there, sorry. Then obviously this piece, this back peg here will fit right in there. So what we'll do is I'll be right back and do a little segment on soldering up your own SMD, and that way I can post that one separately too on my electronics playlist for anyone who's interested. And you know, there's not much to it, but sometimes it helps to just see it done once. So let me get the soldering stuff ready. In this segment we're going to wire up SMDs. You can buy SMDs off of Amazon or eBay, for example, pretty much in all sizes, ranging at least from the 0603. I don't know that I've seen the 04, 02, or 04, or whatever the smallest sizes. I'm sure they're available too. They'd probably be a bear to work with. You may want to get those pre-wired. But yeah, 0603 up to 1206. And I think there's an 8 something in between there, 08, 0805 in between there. All those numbers have something to do, I think, with the millimeters or something. I think it's like the 1206 is like 12 millimeters by 6 millimeters or something like that. But anyways, yeah, so the bigger the number here at the front, the bigger the chip. For this project, we'll use the 1206s. This project being lighting up the windows on this Discovery model, so we'll just hot glue a chip down in there, and you can see it here. I've got my positive and negative magnet wire lined up, ready to roll. These chips come on a little strip, whole bunch of them, as you can see here. And you just peel off this plastic and basically grab the next chip in line. there you can see the top part of the chip. I've switched over to my macro so you can see this easier. The back side of an SMD has this T on it, and this cross part here is on this side, on the right side, as I've it laid out here, is the positive, and then the long bottom part of the T over on this side here is the negative. Let's see if I can just maybe show that. Okay, so let's put 3 volts on this. Touch positive to the, there we go. Okay, so all we're going to do, not surprisingly, is solder our magnet wire, our positive side, down to here, and the negative side, obviously, to the other side, to here. So we'll be working with magnet wire, a very thin gauge wire. It's 30 gauge. It also comes in 28, but this is 38 gauge magnet wire, which is just a copper wire with a little coating on it. You might be able to see here I've taken the coating off of the positive side already, but you just take your soldering iron and get a little blob of solder on there, and then run that wire right through the blob very slowly, and it burns off the coating. And then it also has the added advantage of pre-tinning your wire, which is always a good idea. And especially when you're especially when you're working on something as small as an SMD, it's going to help to have a little bit of that solder on the end of the wire. Give this guy one more shot. I'm just kind of smoothing it out here, taking off the excess. Okay, so we have both our wires cleared of the coating and pre-tinned. I've taped down the SMD, and we'll try to get a little bit of solder on this side. There we go. Yeah, took it no problem. Then we'll tape down our positive lead. Clean off our solder tip on our sponge, and I keep some of that copper shavings too, just make sure the tip's nice and clean. Okay, good connection there. Do the same thing obviously on the negative side. Probably don't even need solder on here. I've got a little dot on there. I probably don't need to add any more. Okay, so now what I'll do is cut off the other end of the wire, run that same thing, strip the coating just a little bit, and we'll apply some power, make sure our little unit works. Be right back. I've attached both leads to the power, switch it on, and we've got light that jumped right off the tape. So there you have it. We've got now a wired working SMD to place wherever we need to place it. I have fired up the hot glue gun, bent the SMD so both the wires and the SMD are facing outward, as it were, and we'll just zap a little bit back here and just glue them right in the middle of the roof. You can be generous here, and obviously if you get some over the SMD or whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, and our little negative wire will run up to right about that peg. Our positive can come either over the top or along the side. Oh, we don't need the hot glue gun anymore. Even though it's a cool hot glue gun, it's still better not to lean up against it. Okay, and then our positive wire will run over here. Obviously these parts here are coated, so even if the positive and well, as they touch here, you know, that's why they're coated. No danger of a short there. All right, let's just turn on the power. And see if we can see that here. Turn off this light. Got our windows that side, windows on this side. Bingo. We'll frost up this clear piece here that goes inside. Just scuff it up with a little, well, we'll just go ahead and do that on camera, so I'll be right back. So basically on your windows and clear parts on a lit model, you generally want to scuff them up on the inside to diffuse the light, so you don't have a LED brightly just shining right through there. A couple popular methods, and we'll just use both, even those little tiny piece. One is some steel wool, and you just run it however you can inside there. Whoop, the piece came off. So, yeah. Just kind of twist it in there. You can try to use a little tool to scuff. This is a little grinding tool. It might just work on this little tiny piece by itself. And then the other method, and they're not mutually exclusive, as you're going to see, is to just hit it with a little bit of flat clear. Let's get this. It's just this particular one is Tamiya's TS80 flat clear. Normally I would do this either outside or with the breather and all that, but this piece is so tiny it's not going to take very much at all. Okay. I'm going to let that dry for 10 minutes and hit it with one other coat. Probably overkill, but what the heck. And then we'll just insert it in there, and we'll be, I think, ready to get these pieces, this top and the bottom piece, put onto the saucer. Before I forget, the bottom half of this sandwich also has just a little tiny clear piece that goes in here. And so right here, I think part 102, and so from the inside we'll do the same thing. It should be a piece of cake. Just scuff it up a little bit, hit it with a little bit of the flat clear. Here's our test fit then of the bridge piece, and fits really well. No problem with those two little wires that were running through there. Matter of fact, I hope I can pry this back off, because I am going to glue it down and just clamp this, because still, there's so many wires running through here that I just want to make sure I get a really good seal, something better than just the snap part. So that's what we'll do next. Glue that piece down, then this piece will go down from below. I've got both of them with their frosted clear plastic parts inside. Then this piece comes up from below and kind of completes that, but we still have lighting to do on this piece, and I just noticed I'm going to need to run some copper here. This is a visible part. Yeah, and all these wiring that we have coming out here is going to have to somehow run through there, in through here, and then of course down into the body. which, like I said, I guess I'm probably going to have to snip these resistors off the blinking lights and re-put them on here down the line. So forgive me for how crude this setup is right now, but I thought this would be a good chance to show you, well, here, let's turn off the lights. We've got, I don't know if we can get in there, but anyway, we've got all the lights working. Actually, the side lights, as you can see, aren't blinking, but I think I don't have them connected well enough. But you can see all the little windows are lit up, and you know, going forward in time, as it were, this is probably how I will power up everything. Here's our board we made for the flashing lights, and then we'll just run a jumper wire from here's where the negative of the board goes in, and we'll just run a jumper wire over to where this one is, and actually the battery, the AA battery, 2 AA battery negative will go in here, and also jumper wire to here, and then same on this side with the positive. We'll run the positive battery wire and a jumper will run over to this one here, and I've got these little screw down posts, as you can see, where I've put all the positives into this side, all the negatives into that side. So that's probably how we'll end up powering this, so I thought I'd just give you a quick preview of that. And this shifts, the bridge light is working, but you have to take my word for it because it blinks on and off. I'm sure because of kind of my crude setup here, but at least you can get an idea. And as you can see, I've got the bridge glued down. Let's see if we can get to the underside. Yeah, the underside there. Let's see if we maybe turn the lights off, we can maybe see the side windows. Yeah, I think it's had a little trouble focusing, obviously, but hey, you get the idea. Just to make sure I hooked up the side lights back here to the original part we built. I did take all these off. I just had them kind of taped on there. They're not very strong. I'll obviously get it all soldered up at some point. But anyway, most importantly, we've got our blinking light effect still fine. Yeah, so you'll just have to use your imagination right now with white lit windows and our blinking light effect. But in the end, when we solder all this to the board, everything should work off of one switch.